Some of my fondest memories in my 30 years in the business of cartoons have been at the San Diego Comic-Con and Anime Expo, two gigantic conventions that take place in the month of July in California. But for the first time in like maybe 27 or 28 years, I'm going to skip both. That's actually really hard to say out loud because I love both of these conventions and I actually really want to go. But it's 2025 and it's really time to reassess their value. They're not the conventions that you think they might be, and maybe it's time to reconsider going. Hey there, welcome back to Surviving Animation, your guide to making it in the business of cartoons. My name's Eric Calderon, and I really want to restate the goal and main catchphrase of my channel because it's relevant to what I'm talking about in terms of reconsidering conventions like San Diego Comic-Con and Anime Expo, even though that already happened. So let's start with the word guide. So I like to say Surviving Animation is a guide because I'm really here to talk about the big basics, the general rule sets to give you the best chance to kind of win the fight. So of course, like any boxing coach, I can give the basics, I can describe some of the fundamentals, but it's always going to be your talent and your contextual situation that allows you to win. And I hope that if you watch this episode, you'll see that the specific guideline and rule structure around the idea of going to Comic-Con and the past Anime Expo has really changed, which really makes me want to make this kind of video. The next thing, after guide, I always say making it. So Surviving Animation has been a channel about making it. That means I'm speaking to the people who are either really just starting in industry or perhaps are changing gears after having been in the industry for a while, or maybe they just want to kind of keep updated to what the current information is out there. But all of that is for the goal of just making it, just getting by and having a career that will last as long as mine has or even longer. So a lot of what I'm talking about in this episode about those two conventions is going to be for that tier person. If you are a award-winning super showrunner out there, then this might not apply for you. Or if you are part of a big movie theatrical company who's making a big promotional splash, maybe this isn't for you. But then again, if that's you, I don't know why you're watching this, so thank you if you are. But anyway, the last part of my catchphrase, your guide to make it in the business of cartoons, let's focus on the word business, because I love cartoons, I love fandom, I love anime. This is not necessarily what this channel is about. This channel is about the business around that fandom. So with that in mind, I want to remind that your guide to making it in the business of cartoons is the lens from which I'm going to view the idea that maybe you should reconsider Comic-Con and maybe next year's Anime Expo. Okay, let's get deeper into this subject, and I'm going to cut right to the chase of why I think both these conventions may not be right for you in 2025. And that is that these are B2C, not B2B events. Now, for those of you not familiar with those terms, B2C refers to business to consumer, or a business that's directed directly towards the person who's going to purchase or buy your product. Now, that is in contrast to B2B, business to business. That refers to any kind of product or operation or company whose main client is another business who then speaks to consumers. Now, in the business of cartoons, you'll find that the majority of the larger types of animation that are done out there require you as a creator, you as a producer, to speak first with another company who then goes directly to consumers. So again, B2B is the kind of traditional way that most big budget, mainstream animation is made. Of course, that's changing. We can talk about that in a much separate video that's much longer. But in general, both Anime Expo and Comic-Con are set up as B2C events, not B2B events. So let's talk about what that means. A B2C event is really there to enjoy your fandom. It's really there to buy products, to see big releases, to enjoy the things you already love. But in a B2B convention, where a lot of the business happens, you're really looking to compare something like Comic-Con and Anime Expo with the much more efficient and business-oriented conventions like Kidscreen, like MIPTV, like MIPCOM, or even the more artsy B2B kind of film and festival and convention put together, things like the Ottawa Animation Festival or Annecy, or some of the other animation conventions around the world. So when you're at a B2C event, the most difficult thing is to do business. Now, in my years and years of going to both these events, I've realized that after years of going, it's really hard to do some of the basic things that make business important. Like, first of all, it's very hard to book a meeting. If you're at a place that's full of fans, that has limited space, you are always scrambling to just try to find a place to talk to someone, to really sit and have a quiet and often confidential conversation. And that takes a lot of movement, a lot of navigating, perhaps a lot of overpriced restaurants or really cramped spaces. Or, worst of all, you're in a space that's very distracting and is full of a lot of fans screaming and trying to get the attention of the person that you're really trying to focus your conversation on. So, not being able to properly do business is a big issue. And you'll find that even the infrastructures at both of these conventions that are designed to actually bring businesses together to talk to people are parties. Now, that sounds really fun. It is. It's also not the most ideal situation for you to actually get the real job done of opening a deal, negotiating the middle part of a deal, or closing a deal. So at the very basic, it's hard to do business at a place that is B2C. And here's the thing. This is not just advice for mid-size or small or new IP. Actually, the big guys are even figuring this out too. As Comic-Con in particular is starting to fade from the center point of culture and fandom where it used to be, you're seeing a lot of big brands back out. This year alone, Marvel, Lucasfilm, Warner Brothers, Legendary, Sony, Lionsgate, and Paramount, all of them are skipping out of Hall H this year, the big main stage where they're used to actually promoting the big new thing they have to fans. They're all backing out. I think they're starting to figure out that even if you get 5,000, 4,000, 3,000 fans into one big hall and launch a big trailer, it just doesn't really move the needle. I mean, you're better off just putting it out on YouTube, and within seconds, within minutes, you're going to get 10x or 100x of what you're spending at Comic-Con, not including the live talent going there, not including the booking costs and the marketing costs and the preparation of all your staff to get there. So even for the big boys, it's quickly becoming a place that's not important to break a new brand or an idea. Now, at this point, you might be saying to yourself, hey, wait a minute, I'm trying to introduce my new property or my new idea into the marketplace. I want to use Anime Expo or San Diego Comic-Con to try to introduce it to the market, to finally make a splash at the center of fandom to tell people that what I have to say, the story that I want to talk about, should be exciting for them. So aren't these places great for that? Well, no, they're actually terrible. The reason is that at a true fandom event, at the apex of this fandom event for both categories of convention, fans are there to celebrate the things that they already know and love. They're there to talk about, dress up, get excited, hear about, and buy things for brands and IP and stories that they already have fallen in love with before they got there, or maybe even decades before. So it's almost like imagining you're going to win a game in baseball and your first game with your team is the World Series against the best team in the world. You're just competing against other companies and other brands with 5, 10, 100 times your marketing budget. You are trying to get the attention of fans who are not there for something new, and you're trying to kind of squeeze some attention out of a place that's super overcrowded with everyone else trying to get your attention. So my suggestion, if you want to use an event to try to break a brand, try a smaller convention, try a local convention where there's much less competition. Because if the idea is to really test the waters, do it at a booth that's cheaper, at a place that's easier to get to, that probably has less hotels. But hey, listen, trying something in a place with 5,000 fans, you're going to get the same kind of macro feedback that you would at a place with 150,000 fans. Okay, I feel like I can't go too much further without actually talking about the kinds of people I think should go to Comic-Con and who should continue to go to Anime Expo, because even though my channel is talking about the negative things, I just want to at least put a little brightness on this and remind people that these are awesome events and there's a lot of good reasons to go. It just might not be the reasons that relate to you and your career and making it in the business of cartoons. So the first type of person that should go is obviously the fans. If you are just a fan of anything that involves anime, that circulates around Japanese culture or Japanese gaming or cosplay or Japanese anime inspired art or Japanese music or gaming or even tourism. Anime Expo was just incredible. It's an awesome, fun place to walk around, to really be with your people, be with your community and your tribe of people who love anime, and to just kind of whoop it up and really watch the latest Japanese director come out with their new Japanese product, walk up and down Artist Alley and buy some fan art. And, it could be anything from an inspiration of an American comic character mashed into anime to K-pop Demon Hunters because it's just that good. Or maybe it's just you want to go down and have some takoyaki, which they're making and bringing over right from, Little Tokyo. So the fan is the first person that should definitely go to someone like Anime Expo. Now, when it comes to San Diego Comic-Con, even though American comic books have been really the foundation and center of that entire convention, it's really, really much wider. I mean, I found that anime is still really well represented at San Diego Comic-Con. There's a large sci-fi and fantasy contingent. There's a ton of gaming. There's a lot of cosplay. There's medieval stuff. There's futuristic stuff. There's even panels that relate to the politics and the cultural shift of fictional storytelling. It can get really academic, which I found really an interesting kind of rabbit hole at Comic-Con. So fans should go. Fans should be there to enjoy the things they love, to celebrate the things they love. And I think that's the first category of people that really should go to these events. Now, there's also a subset of business-oriented people or industry people that should definitely go to Comic-Con, but it might be a little narrower than you think. So I think the first category is actually professionals who are promoting something worldwide or nationwide. Because guess what? The marketing budget is probably paying for your hotel, paying for your travel, getting you your comped badge, and really just having you there because they've got something really big that they want to tell the world about. So if you're staffed on something, if you're a producer, an executive, or a talent on something, of course you should go to Comic-Con or Anime Expo because you're part of the show itself. Now, the second type are actually the high-paid network executives or production company executives who have a large travel spending budget, who have a lot of disposable income, and can just kind of write it off as an event really that is mostly professional, but also fun and social. They can, kind of check it off as a little bit of learning and a lot of fun. I found there's a subset of these people who go every year. They don't really accomplish much. They kind of go to all the industry events. They walk around. They spend a lot of money. Hey, if that's you, congratulations. You should go. Enjoy the show. Spend someone else's money or a company's money. Or if you've got enough money to waste, go for it. The other kind of person who I think is an important professional person to go is the up-and-comer or the newcomer without a lot of connections. Now, if your main goal is networking and your main focus is try to introduce yourself to more people, Comic-Con and Anime Expo can be a pretty good place for that. Because if you can get into these pro events or even these pro/fan events, you can start to introduce yourself, find out how things work, have some casual conversations, and really start to build that network of connections that will later become very valuable for you in your career in the business of cartoons. So up-and-comers and networkers. Now, the last category I will say from the professional side that should go is socialites. So I'll kind of sometimes count myself as this one, which is if you just love being around people, if you just love to be at places that are full of crowds, that are full of like-minded pros and fans, and just everywhere around you is everything that you love and want to do in your life and in your career and in your fandom, it's a great place for you. And I think now that I look back, I more and more went to Comic-Con and went to Anime Expo for the professional social scene. As I started to realize that I wasn't going to truly accomplish anything and just really have fun and catch up with people, it became a little easier and more relaxing to do. And actually, I like to say that Comic-Con and Anime Expo are kind of like the wider fandom industry's Christmas party. And that's where, you shake hands with people, you roast, you raise raise a glass and have a toast with people you haven't talked with a while, and just really realize that you're part of a bigger industry. You're not alone in this, and that some of the people may be going through the same thing that you're going through. So socialites, great reason to go to both these events. Okay, I just want to finish this video by saying that there is also a very personal reason that I'm not going to Comic Con this year and why I didn't go to Anime Expo, which is I'm a new dad. I have a wonderful 3.5-year-old daughter and a 1.5-year-old daughter. I relocated my entire family to Orlando to work here in the themed entertainment business, in addition to continuing my work in animation. But it really just felt like the right time. I don't like to leave my family. I don't like to think of them without me, and I feel pretty guilty having a lot of fun on my own with all the fantastic nerds that I've built my career with. So I would be lying if I didn't admit that not going to Comic Con and Anime Expo was related to my time in life. So, hey, maybe it's just my time. Maybe I have to wait till they're older and they can come with me and I can come back and have a fun time again. Okay, that's all I got for you. I hope you got something out of that, and I'll see you in the next one.